Welcome back to Versus. It's a special week. I'm JWMaher, and that's Will Cohen. Will, let me ask how you're doing first before we jump into the festivities.
You know, I'm generally speaking, I'm okay. We're in a brand new month, and so that means that once we're done here, we can look forward to nice, like sunshine. Not, we can look forward to things not being gray. And thank God after tonight, we no longer have to talk about this fucking movie.
Yeah. If you've been following the show, and most of you have not, so if you did stumble upon this, let me tell you something. I have a friend on Facebook. Her name is Louisa, and she lives in the United Kingdom, and she's also a film director. Will, it's unfair to say it's just Will. We've watched most of her films. I'd say more than half of them. They are on the whole
dog shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say from Abominations to from like a generation removed from Abominations, but still you could tell it's an abomination. Like that's kind of like the range for her films, even though she is a lovely human being, and I won't say anything bad about her personally. Hey, we'll get to that. But one of our newest movies is Ouija Castle, which I'm going to leave this up for a minute because, for starters, I really don't understand the title. I mean, I understand that it takes place in a castle, and one of the characters owns a Ouija board, which is kind of like it's like a Necronomicon Ouija board because it's clearly made out of human flesh, or whatever. But this is not so central to the plot that this needs to be the name of this movie.
No, like the board, like we see the board in the cold open, which makes us think that we're going to find out more about this board. And quite frankly, the board doesn't work the same way that a typical Ouija board does. Like it works like a weird medieval speak and spell, which I don't know why that infuriated me as much as it did, but my God, why? Why did they have to have that?
Yeah, I don't understand because like it clearly is tied to the demon, like Zazid, whatever that shows up, played by Daniel Scott, which she covered her. Like, we'll get into that too. Another favorite on the channel. It's tied to the demon, but the demon just shows up willy-nilly, whether you're using the board or not. You could just be like, "Yo, this is it," and the demon just like shows up. It's like, well, What the fuck do I need the board for? Anyway, but they named the movie Ouija Castle, even though the Ouija board has nothing to do with the castle. The owners of the Ouija board are not the residents of the castle until later in the movie. The Ouija board's in like a house miles away from the castle to start the movie. What the fuck ever. And then this box art is accurate, but it spoils the movie. This is the end of the movie. Like, this character is a character in the movie, but it is what happens to one of the characters in the movie. So, like, if you're watching this movie based on the box art, you're like, where the fuck? That thing on the bottom of the cover was really cool. When does it show up? It shows up in the last 10 minutes of the movie because this is Talia, the main character, after she's been like, a lot happens to her.
Yeah.
A lot happens to her. Yeah. A lot happens to her. All right. Wow. We're going to talk about this movie though. Well, let's just put it all on the table. Why are you so upset? Coma, rape, what the fuck? Yes, that is, there is a big scene. Okay, let me back up and get back. Why is there a coma? Why is there a rape? These are great questions. Now, this movie is called Ouija Castle, but it is like another one of these public domain kind of fairy tale movies because it borrows elements from Sleeping Beauty and it borrows elements from Cinderella. I would say technically it's like a Cinderella Sleeping Beauty mashup because like you have the exact thing from Cinderella. Like she pricks her finger on a spinning wheel and she goes into a coma. For 8 months, where she is raped repeatedly by a servant, which is, it happens. You know, these things happen.
Which, like, let me preface two things right now. One, it's very obvious this is going on because like she's in this coma, and then the servant comes in saying a bunch of weird, creepy shit. He peels up the blanket.
Oh, wow.
And pats her pregnant belly. So clearly, this is, after it said 8 months later, it's pretty obvious what happened.
I want to say that I'm not a doctor, and I'm definitely not an obstetrician. However, it's really weird. Like I imagine this takes place in like Victorian times, I guess. But so I don't understand how a woman in a coma can be sustained to healthily carry a child in Victorian times. I would think she'd just be straight up fucking dead.
Right.
Yeah, but I digress.
So so by this point, like by this reveal, it's very clear what happened.
Yeah.
And then they take it a step further. It's like, And then you hear him very audibly unbuckling his fucking trousers.
Oh, they show him on top of her.
That's what I was about to say next, because they take it the next unnecessary step further, and they show you part of, they show you, I'm not going to say the rape scene, but definitely at least one of like what we can only assume are several coma rapes.
It's not so graphic that I can't put a clip.
But like, it's graphic enough where this woman, her arm is just fucking flailing.
Yeah.
Which is so stupidly unnecessary. This is almost, I put this as unnecessary as Timothy Chalamet coming inside of a peach and making Armie Hammer eat it. Like, this is just fucking gross. It's just fucking unnecessary, and it's...
I wasn't expecting this "call me by your name" slander.
This is just some bullshit that we just don't need. This is like, I'm pretty sure that she's underage. If they follow the story, this is an underage girl.
Yeah, it's a princess, and that's usually implied that she's like a teenager. Yes.
So this old dude is basically is just plowing a preteen, a pre-adult in a coma. Yeah. There's nothing about this about this that does not scream just ugly. Okay.
We did gloss over a bit to just jump right to the coma rape, but I gotta say the coma rape is the exclamation point in this movie. It's the point in the movie where either going to be like, I'm done, or you're like, okay, like what else is going to happen? And I think Will and I are on both sides of that coin. Like, Will was done, and I was like, well, where do we go from here? It's very the relationships of all the folks are odd, okay? Because like Talia is a princess, but they mention her father, who does not live in this castle. The castle is Prince Edison and his mother, and then he has a sister who we see get killed in the cold open.
You will untie me at once.
You have no authority here, my dear.
So she's just a princess that lives at this castle, even though her father, who I imagine is a king somewhere else, lives somewhere else. And then the keepers of the Ouija board are like a duchess and her daughter Sophia, and they live elsewhere, like just they live close enough to the castle you can walk there, but then they've also killed enough people before the start of the movie that they've amassed a bunch of power, and Edison's family is like the last thing remaining between them and marrying into the entirety that would control the entirety of the lands of whatever country we're supposedly in.
Right. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I did try to like purge this as much of it from my memory as humanly possible after watching it, but I believe Edison has in his head that he wants to marry this woman, but this other woman, I can't remember her name, but she has no status, not status, status.
Yeah, because something happened. I don't know if something happened to her father or whatever, but like, yeah, she is a princess, but there's no like, there's nothing that comes with marrying her.
Right.
Like her family is out of the picture in the romance of the X number of kingdoms of whatever country we're in.
You know why you cannot join with her?
Why?
Son, she has lost her status. You have to take the hand of a woman of value.
So he wants to marry her for love, but this other, like Sophia and her mother, do somehow, even though they're not. I don't understand. I'm not like I don't know the feudalism at all, but somehow they represent something, even though when we see them, they are living in a fucking like stable. Like
right.
Whatever.
So like it's not just the relationships that are confusing, it's the whole like lineage of this fucking kingdom that have no logic to it whatsoever.
Right.
So even if you still are curious about what's going to happen after the Coma rape, you have to like pretty much like diagram something so utterly complex. You've now put in more thought that this film actually has.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I think the mother's name, I think she is Arabella. So Arabella and Sophia, this is something I put in my review. Like, they have no qualms just like killing people. Like, it's like a Machiavellian scheme to like take over the country.
Which one is played by Chrissy Wanna?
Oh, she's just one of the. She's not played. She's just one of the maids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just shocked to see her kids fucking absent from this film. So clearly it was the one time she found a babysitter.
Well, I mean, late stage Chrissy Wanna, her kids either just realized they're bad actors or they lost the love of acting. I don't know, but she's just there's a bunch of maids and servants that just serve as like cannon fodder. In this, it's kind of like a slasher, I guess, in that sense. But like, yeah. So anyway, like I said, Arabella and Sophia. They don't have any qualms killing people, like just out and out stabbing, killing people. Yet, so all they really have to do is kill everybody but Edison and marry him to Sophia. But they don't do that. They leave Talia alive. Like, they just make her life. They just fucking torture her. Like, you could just kill her. They don't kill her though. They torture her, which I guess is we're supposed to believe she's kept alive because that's what the demon wants. Did I mention that Arabella has this demon Zazid that is just like Daniel Scott, like a very like, you know, it's like the mankind. It's Bray Wyatt's The Fiend mask dipped in honey and smashed on her face. So that's basically what she is, and she keeps Arabella like young, even though she's 60. Like she has eternal life. Whatever, believe me, I'm having a hard time describing it because it is that confusing. And this movie is 107 minutes long, which is crazy length for an ITN movie. She's basically making her like the shit kind of immortal, like where it's like, oh, this fucking long life sucks. So like, but to have the honor of that, they kill people, they give her like pure souls, even though like clearly this bitch is pregnant. So I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever, they kill a bunch of people and they smear blood on themselves a bunch of times. Like, you could have just fucking killed everybody and taken the prince and then just did the whole process. Like, and now that you're in power, but I digress. That's not what they do. They make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Right. And so I'm just the other giant elephant in the room that we have to talk about. Every single time there is any single time that the violence goes up to 11, it's always to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the
The queen, like Edison's mother, the queen.
Edison's mother gets like a fucking scythe to the nose, like up the nostril.
Don't fret. Your kingdom is safe.
The nose is essentially ripped off. And then is it her throat is slit after that?
Like she's alive, but her face is split like Victor Crowley, right?
Okay.
And I will say the effects for this type of movie are like top tier for this level of movie. But then while she's on the ground, she's just like hit with an axe like 4 times, and she doesn't die. She does not. She dies hard. She dies hard. Like she doesn't die for a long time, and Arabella's just like it goes on forever. It wills great. Like people don't just die. It's like when women die in Scream, but just done more poorly and dragged out longer.
Like at least when they die in like the Scream franchise, it feels like there's still some sort of respect being paid. This falls under a Telephobia 2 levels of bullshit, where it's just long, drawn out, and violent for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah. So every woman, like, Chrissy 1 is one of the maids. They freaking sew her mouth shut, and she's they do the whole ITN bit where she's tied up and she gets out of it. That has to happen in every ITN movie. And they bring her back and they fuck her up. There's another maid. Kate Sanderson is in this movie. She gets stabbed in the back with like a fucking pitchfork or some bullshit. Right. There's the other girl, Lila Lasso is the other maid. She gets stabbed.
For your babies, you have to save them.
Like everyone gets. Oh, the girl in the beginning gets stabbed like 1,000 fucking times
with a scythe.
Yeah. But when the pervert dies, it's just like one of those like bloodless like stabbings, and he's good. Back to Talia though, what she endures. So she's raped in a coma. She comes out of the coma because the pervert guy like sucks on her finger, and the piece of the spinning wheel that is stuck in her finger comes out when he's doing his perverted 9.5-week shit to her. And then the fact that this pervert sucked on her finger is what causes her to come out of the coma, which is like, I'm going to give you kudos because that's fucking weird and I kind of liked it. And then like, now that she's awake, Edison's conflicted because his love, and he thinks the babies are his, but then like he was promised himself to Sophia because they basically gaslit him to think like, oh, well, this bitch isn't coming out of a coma. You got to marry her. So the whole movie, he's clearly like not in love with Sophia, but she's like all in, like they're going to have a happy ending together. Even though like whatever, and they keep going back and forth, and then they fuck up Talia even more. Like she goes into labor, they take her babies.
Your babies are not crying, they are dead.
The Arabella's like, your babies are dead, and then they just throw it in a stew pot over the fire. Like that's not necessary. And they continuously show like the baby's arm like in the stew pot, like. All right.
Yeah.
Then, like, then causes her to flip out more. They keep her alive more. Then they bring her in a room and they cut her fucking face off. That doesn't kill her. And I gotta tell you, the effects of her having her face cut off is like you can clearly see it's her face, and they've just put like a Mars Attacks looking thing over her face. And that's like her face, which is like, it's a good bad. And then when they finally cut her face off, that's when Talia's like, I've had enough of this shit. And she goes full Pete Davidson in the Home, or like, Rowan Campbell in the Nazi Party at Silent Night, Deadly Night. She goes fucking off. And that's probably the best scene in the movie, when she just shows up to the wedding and fucking goes and does like the Hellraiser 3 nightclub scene on these people.
Yeah, like John and I had talked about this a little bit, like throughout the day as we were discussing this movie, and we both came to the conclusion that's like, yeah, some of the violence like does go hard, but the thing is that when most times in a horror film when violence goes hard, there's a payoff, and that payoff is usually like pretty awesome. The payoff here fucking sucks. Like there's no payoff.
Yeah, the payoff is like Talia kills everybody. She kills all the party guests. She kills Sophia. She kills Arabella.
No. After everything I've done for you.
Keeps Edison alive though, and at the end of the movie, she has the Ouija board, and the Ouija board, if you're eagle-eyed, and I'm not going to put the whole clip in here, but it painstakingly takes forever. Where she's moving, it says "You are mine," and now she's like Edison's like her sex slave or whatever. Like she's got him tail tied to the bed. She's fucked up. She's still got the freaking the kabuki mask on, and that's how the movie ends. Like, yeah. Cool. Like, I'm not happy for anything here.
Yeah. So, so great. Now we get to rape a dude.
He's getting reverse raped like Sean Penn in One Battle After Another forever.
Yay.
And that's Ouija Castle. Here we go. Well, you can go first. I know where this is going.
Yeah, fuck everything about this movie. If I had my way, this would actually have a deficit of stars. There's nothing redeeming about this film, which is the weirdest thing, because like this film actually had a production budget. Clearly, this film visually didn't look like ITN typical dog shit. Not even typical like Louisa Warren dog shit. But the content itself, whether you want to forgive it for its transgressions or not, the writing has no substance. This film does shock value just for the sake of shock value, and it just ends on the worst possible note humanly possible. 1/2 star. Half star.
All right. I respect that opinion.
That looked like it said 1.5 star.
That's one. That's a half. Oh, it's just because it's you can see through to the red. The yellow is the half star. Yeah, I promise you that is a half star.
Okay.
I'm a little higher on it. Like I understand there's coma rape in this movie, and that is a line too far to cross for some people. I just want to give credit to the production people who were like doing their absolute, like crafting masks, crafting things. The gore looks realistic. Will is right that this movie is shot better than most ITN movies that come before it. The effects are better than most ITN movies come before it. There's no ridiculous CGI in this movie. While the actors are not acting, and some of my favorite non-actors are in this movie, like it's not horribly distracting. It's like all of these compliments sound like shit. But like, if I'll put this up against any Tooth Fairy movie any day of the week, I'd rather watch this. So I'm gonna say that is what I will say. So 2 stars for me, actually. I can't go higher than 2 because like it's confusing as hell and it's too long. And they could have made this so much simpler, and they chose not to. I don't like the title. I don't like the box art. Like, what are you doing? Name your movies appropriately, for God's sake. There had to have been 500 different titles of this movie that could have been better than Ouija fucking Castle. Like, what are you doing?
They could have honestly just called it Coma Rape, and it would have at least.
Yeah, if this movie was called Coma Rape, or like or anything, or like Sleeping Beauty for a little bit, like Sleeping Beauty, but not anymore.
Coma Beauty. There we go.
Yeah, whatever. It's like, I don't know. You could have workshopped the title for like 5 more minutes, I feel, and come up with something better. But hey,
Somnambule bitch. There you go.
You might be saying, how do we follow up Ouija Castle? Like, what is the next thing in the ITN catalog? Will, would you believe? I know we've dealt with bull shark, right? But sometimes sharks go on vacation. Sometimes sharks, you think they're in the ocean. In bull shark, it was in a lake. What if I told you like sharks sometimes are in the mountains? What if I told you about a mountain shark?
I can tell you that looks so much better than Ouija Castle.
Yeah, that's a huge fucking shark too, by the way. That's a mountain meg. But we will find out about mountain shark next week. Next week on Versus, we'll learn all about how mountain shark. There's got to be shitty CGI in this movie. There's no way there's practical effects in this movie. There's no way. But if you made this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Go to the Facebook group at Why We Love Horror. Check out the 3rd annual Why We Love Horror Challenge there. That'll do it for Versus this week. I'm JWMaher. That's Will Cohen. Here comes the rest of the schedule.